26-minute PR, maybe the biggest PR in the field. You trained by yourself in Buffalo. I think surprised would be how most people feel seeing you up here. You were confident in your training.
Yeah, I was really confident, but I also didn't know exactly what you're supposed to do, that you're ready to run the time you want to run. So I went out really conservative, so I would make the most of what my talent and the training I had in me, and it worked perfectly. I felt amazing, and I rolled people up at the end. So.
Mary, we're used to seeing you go out in a blistering fast pace. Not the case today. You went out at a conservative pace. Why the change in plan?
First of all, I want to say that I'm happy for my results today because I know I was not in the form the way I wanted, because yesterday afternoon I had a problem with my home and I was not able to do it today the way I wanted. So at least to finish in second, although the time is too low, but for me it's better that I finish the race, and I'm happy about the second place, because race is a race. Sometimes you can lose, and that's part of life.
Now we'll go to our champion today. 2:26:53, second fastest time ever run by an American on this course. Shalane, when you had to pull out of Boston, the heartbreak was well chronicled. That was a sad moment for you. This is some consolation prize. When did you know that you were going to be the 2017 TCS New York City Marathon champion?
It's never over until you cross that finish line. But yeah, about 9 months ago, I was heartbroken over not getting the opportunity to race the Boston Marathon, and it really hurt quite a bit. And I just kept telling myself that there's going to be delayed gratification and a moment down the road that would make up for it. And I've dreamed of a moment like this since I was a little girl, and so it means a lot to me, to my family, and hopefully inspires the next generation of American women to just be patient. And it took me 7 years to do this, so there's a lot of work just went into this one moment. And in those final miles, I absolutely was thinking of the people who've helped me be in this position. New York Road Runners for putting on a fantastic race and making such an incredible day for all of us, my family, and my sponsors. And I was thinking of Meb, and I was thinking of how I wanted to make him proud today. And I think I did.
We'll now take questions for Ali Kiefer, Mary Catani, and Shalane Flanagan.
1 second. I think we have a special delivery for Mary.
Looks like we have a special delivery for Mary. Mary's daughter, presenting her with her second place medal for today. Well, I'll take questions for Ali Kiefer, Mary Catani, and Shalane Flanagan.
Congratulations on your win. This question is for all of the runners today. Was there any time that you felt that the race was a challenge for you? Or did you find any difficulties in running?
Shalane?
You're asking if there was challenges throughout the race. I find that the challenges a lot of times for us can sometimes not necessarily even be in our legs, it's in the head. It's between the ears. There's a lot of sometimes self-doubt that goes on during the race, and so I think, you know, here and there, I tell myself I'm doing great, and then I would think, oh, but, you know, there's always creeping in doubts of whether I was going to have enough of what it would take to be the best in the world. And I had no physical limitations today. I felt really good, but sometimes those slower miles mixed in with some fartlicking can kind of make you question yourself a little bit. So sometimes we were fartlicking quite a bit. It felt like I didn't get any actual splits, but I could just feel the up tempo. But other than that, it was a pretty flawless race for me.
Larry?
Shalane, congratulations. So, did you know before the race when the last American woman, how long ago was for the last American woman to win?
I knew it was about 40 years.
So tell us a little bit about what that feels like, to be the first one in 40 years.
It's too long. That's what it is. It's way too long. But I knew that it was possible. I believe in amazing things, and I believe amazing things can happen. And my coaches told me that it was possible. The training that I put in was the best I've ever had, and they made me believe that today it could happen if I just ran a tactically sound race and was patient. And these are the moments that we dream of as athletes, and this is going to feel good for a really long time.
Yes, a follow-up to just this question, Shalane. You know, you mentioned Meb, right here. You mentioned Meb, you won it from Meb just now, and you know, I've known Meb for a long time, and the role that Meb played in terms of running in this country, and it has also inspired you, made you better. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel lucky and blessed to have run in what I consider the Meb era. He's been the absolute best role model for all of us in the way he lives and conducts himself, and I just love being around the man. He's always smiling. I always tell him all the time, he has like the best giggle that I've ever heard. And he was a part of healing, you know, Boston after the bombings in 2014, and that's my hometown, so that his performance meant the world to me and to the people who helped raise me and the town that I'm from. And he's a special person for sure. And so today I just thought, you know, just be like Meb as much as you can. He's the person that you would want your kids to emulate, and I want to emulate Meb. And so I was just thinking, you know, keep it together, those final miles as best I could, and think about the people that have set this stage for me and have paved the way, and Meb is one of them. So I was absolutely thinking of him and thinking, I got to make him proud today.
Before we go, any questions for Mary and Alan? Any questions for Mary and Alan? Who's here in the back? Bring the microphone over to you.
Thank you. I'm Solomon with the Voice of America, Horn of Africa Service. Mary, I think you have been the most anticipated and the most feared on this race. You won the last 3 marathons, New York marathons, and you just said that there was something back at home that you heard yesterday. If it is not too personal, can you share us what is that problem that impacted you this much to lose, that made you lose your title? Thank you.
He's asking if you had some sort of injury that may have prevented you from performing your best today? If it's not too personal, if you could share that.
Sorry, I didn't say injury. I was not injured, but I had
I didn't say if you were injured. You said there was something back at home.
no, not all. Yesterday, I said yesterday afternoon, I had a problem, and that's part of life, because I experienced this at 3 p.m. yesterday, and I was not able today to deliver what I wanted. So that's why I did the way I do today. So, but I want to congratulate my fellow athlete Shalane, because she got this today. So for me, I'm happy that I've won 3 times consecutively. So I'm happy for New York. Thank you.
Question for Mary or Ellen?
Ali, can you maybe speak to what a performance like this and breakout means for you and your running career going forward, especially as a unsponsored athlete?
As what?
Unsponsored athlete.
Oh, yeah. So I got the opportunity to run as part of the Moonshot project that Becky did, which is off of the Breaking 2 project. And it was like a semi-sponsorship, so they helped me a lot in the build-up and really made it possible for me to see massage therapists, do strength training, and I felt kind of sponsored, so that was really nice. And I think when I was out there, I was just, leading up to the race, they allowed me to put in so much more training than I would have been able to on my own, because I did a lot more workouts than I recovered a lot better than I could if I don't see those people. And now, when I was out there, I was kind of thinking of all the people that helped me get to the start line. There are a lot of people in Buffalo that ran with me along the way and made the miles a lot easier and more doable. So now, on the other side of this, I feel like I get to celebrate with everyone. So I'm from New York. I ran a lot of the race alone, and I thought that was my absolute worst nightmare. And this city screamed my name for like 12 miles when I was alone. So this breakout for me is like a thank you to Nike and everyone who helps me along the way. And yeah, hopefully it leads to something else and it's a deal, so I can continue living this magical story, because the past 3 months having the Nike semi-sponsorship has been a dream come true.
So Ali, I understand that your other marathon was on a 200-meter indoor track, is that correct?
Yes. Well, so I ran Miami,
Okay.
and then I ran the indoor marathon last year. Yeah, 200-meter track.
Running 26.2 miles on the roads is one thing. Would you just tell us a little about running on a 200-meter track?
I actually loved the experience. The people at the Armory Foundation put on an amazing event, and there was music, and they announced everything for 26 miles. So there was a crowd, and you have to love running if you're going to do it for 211 laps. But it was a really fun experience, and I like to run, so it was okay.
I want to take a couple more questions for Shalane before we bring the men in. Sir in the back.
Shalane, hi. You mentioned before Mev when he won in Boston the year after the attack of the bombing. He was the first American to win after a long time. So today you are the first American to win since 1977. It's kind of it sent a message in some way. It was kind of I don't want to say improbable, but it's after so many years, it seems like a great message, and you beside winning, you send it to. I don't know if we can read into this.
He's asking about the comparison between what happened with Meb in Boston and then responding to the events this week here in New York.
The fact that today you won after the attack 5 days ago, it seems like a comparison with Meb doing it the year after.
With the terrorist attack. Yeah, I thought of that as I finished, thinking how important it is. There's great opportunities when there's political things and athletics cross over, and athletics is a great way to make people feel good and to smile, to kind of forget about some of the negative things in the world. And so I absolutely, before this race, was thinking about how this was a really tough week for New York, and I could relate to it because I was in the Boston bombings of 2013. And it is, I was thinking of that as I finished, how it was amazing that Meb was able to be that clutch person in 2014, and how now I've been presented the opportunity to be that person for New York this time.
Shalane, congratulations. You run a lot of great races before that didn't end exactly like this one did. Could you tell us if you did anything different in preparing for this, particularly if you also had breaking two rub-offs that helped, if you wore the shoes, if you tried the new replacement drink, etc.?
Yes, my preparation was different in that I haven't run a marathon in over a year. I had 9 months ago, about 10 weeks break of no running because of an injury, and I think it was a blessing that I had an extended break like that. I have been so fortunate to not have injuries, and therefore I've just continuously gone from one goal to another without much of a break. And I'm maybe one of the only marathoners that tries to run majors and then also goes back to the track and runs world championships. This was the first year that I didn't make a U.S. team running at the World Championships this summer, but I've always cycled in major marathons mixed in with track, and so I think it probably took its toll on my body. That being said, my coach Jerry had changed our preparation. Typically we would go do 2 altitude stints, which was sandwiched in between a sea level stint, and this time around we did 1 altitude stint and then came out for 4 weeks and trained at sea level before I went to race, because I was finding that in a lot of my cycles the 2 altitude stints were making me too fatigued for the race. So it was a shorter build up and less actual workouts, but it did allow me at the beginning of the build up to emphasize a lot more mileage than I've typically been able to do because there were no workouts. So I was able to just throw myself into those big miles. So in general, shorter build up, only 1 altitude stint, and actually less workouts. And it allowed me to feel really good. And I think mixed, combined with the bigger break than I've typically ever had in my career, allowed me to just have a lot of energy for this build up.
Last question.
Shalane, was this your last marathon?
I think I'll sit with my coach, Jerry and Pascal, tonight, and I think we'll have some decisions to make.
How long are you going to wear that?
This?
Yeah.
All day. I already said that earlier. This is the only time it's appropriate to wear this, right?
Thanks to Ali Kiefer, Mary Catani, and our 2017 TCS New York City Marathon champion, Shalane Flanagan.